Hello there guys, welcome back to another episode of Rebuilding Histon, and coming up in today's video we're up against the team that's owned by the class of 92. We're against Salford City away from home at Moor Lane. I need to say this straight away, I am really sorry for the lack of uploads. The fact is I've tried recording this multiple times and we ran into different recording issues where the capturing software was jumping about towards the end of the match, and then therefore it would have been unable to show you what actually happened towards the end, which was a bit more exciting, which was really frustrating. And I took a little break from it to try and figure out what the hell was going on with it. I'm trying again to see if this has made a difference, but I'm hoping that I can definitely upgrade my tech to see if I can not run into any of these situations in the future. But at the moment I'm still currently on what I have with regards to my laptop and my computer tech. So without further ado, let's get into what's been happening since you were last with us, which was all the way back against Boston. That was a month ago, and in time and also in the game, where we lost 2-0 away from home. We then followed that up with a 1-1 draw against Tunbridge in the FA Cup for second qualifying round. We didn't Mbunga opened the scoring before George Burns put it through his own net, which was also in the tie going into a replay. The big news was that Matt J unfortunately picked up an injury and he was out for 4 weeks, so it was a good chunk of fixtures that he was out for. That didn't affect us too much though in the second match against Tunbridge. We managed to win this game 2-1 away from home. Cliff Byrne opened the scoring, but it was Callum, which I thought, oh, here we go again, we're going to lose this tie. But Callum Harris and James Difford both scoring to ensure that we advance into the next round of the FA Cup, and we end our little barren streak of not winning a game. But it's only 2 matches, but yeah, it's nice to get back to winning ways after failing to win in 2. We then followed that up with a 4-2 victory against Guiseley. Now, this was a very interesting game because we lost the lead. We went a goal behind thanks to Guiseley scoring through Dean Butler before Mbunga equalised. Mackenzie then made it 2-1 before Butler then scored his second. And then a man that I decided just to bring up into the first team after Matt J's injury, a guy called Aidan Lawrence, who is a young striker for us. Not the greatest in terms of his overall star ability, but he decided to go on a little bit of a goal streak. And he scored off the bench, which was fantastic to allow us to take the lead before Shane Lovell wrapped up the points for us and ensured that we got a victory 4-2 at home. We then played against Solihull Moors and Aidan Lawrence scored again. This time he opened the scoring after 36 minutes starting the game before Adrian Morford then added a second. So it was the 2 youngsters that ensured that we got the victory against Solihull Moors. We then followed that up with a 4-1 thrashing of Lowestoft in the FA Cup third qualifying round. A little bit of history lesson for you. Way back in the first season, we played against Lowestoft in the third qualifying round when we were an 8th tier side, and they absolutely thrashed us. This time around, we were able to get a little bit of payback, and as you can see right there, Mbunga scoring from the penalty spot after 12 minutes before Sam Joel scoring, and then Aidan Lawrence scoring another 2 goals. So 4 goals in 3 games for Aidan Lawrence, which is insane considering the fact that he wasn't really in first team plans and he was just a youth player prior to this. Liam Hone then prevented us from getting a clean sheet, but didn't affect us too much because we managed to get the victory and advance into the next round. We then followed that with another win, this time away against Blythe Spartans. Aidan Lawrence again, fantastic performance. He scored another goal, so that meant it was 5 goals in 4 games for the youngster. Based off the stats, really was one of those games where it was a smash and grab. Whoever could get that one really good chance was going to win the game, and fortunately for us it went to us, and Aidan Lawrence managed to score the winner and we managed to win another game. We then followed that up with a 3-0 victory at home against Bishop Stortford. James Difford scoring, Callum Harris scoring, and also Mbunga scoring. The only downside was that Aidan Lawrence lost his little goal streak that he was on. But the biggest worry was the fact that Justin May has went down with a foot injury, and he's been out for a sprained ankle. He's still out actually for this game here today for another 8 days to 2 weeks. So it's been a really bad injury, as you will see in a minute. As you can see, we managed to get this victory, but then it kind of fell apart since then. And as you can see, we lost 4-0 away against Staines Town, who I think are in the Vanarama South. Yes, they are. So in the same tier as us, but in the parallel division, but they completely destroyed us. They'd only just come up into the Vanarama South as well, like us last season in the coming from the 7th tier to the 6th tier, and they just played better than us. We just didn't really show anything, and we really just lost our heads in terms of yellow cards. As you can see, all of our back four picking up yellow cards, which could have easily been really really bad if one of these guys had we've had multiple sendings off, especially for the league. Fortunately, that didn't happen though, which was a positive. But we were 3-0 down by 30 minutes, so we were really chasing the game. And as you can see, lots of yellow cards, as I mentioned before, and we didn't deserve to get through. And I was really disappointed with that. We then followed that up with a 0-0 draw at home to Clitheroe. We did have a red card in this game, unfortunately, for William Gregory, who picked up 2 yellow cards in the space of 4 minutes. And based on the chances, we should have done a lot better than drawing this game. Clitheroe didn't even have a shot on target, and we weren't able to get the victory in this match, which again was another frustrating game for me to watch. We then followed that up with a 2-2 draw, this time away against Nuneaton, and again, very similar sort of thing, but we took the lead twice this time. James Difford scoring both goals before Chris Hegney and Marcus Ingram both equalising, or the worst one being Marcus Ingram in the 93rd minute, when we should have had the game sealed up, but we weren't able to hold on to, and we unfortunately dropped points, in my opinion, for this particular match. So, yeah, really disappointing, and we had to regroup immediately. Matt J did make his return, but unfortunately didn't have the greatest of returns, only getting a 6.3 in this particular match. So, what that's done in terms of the league is as follows. As you can see, we're currently still sitting in the playoffs on 28 points, 2 points behind Bishop Auckland, and only 4 points behind the top 2 in Boston and Salford. So, we're still competing at the moment, but the gap between ourselves and the teams below us when fighting for the playoffs has closed up a little bit. FC United are the main challengers to us, I think, and also as are, I think, Gainsborough and Kidderminster in the not too distant future. Everyone's played the same number of games, which is a welcome change considering the fact that the last couple of years we've had quite a few games in hand because of our little cup runs that we've been on. So at the moment it's going well. I think we're doing a pretty good job. I think we could be in that little fight, I think, for the top 3 if we'd been a little bit more clinical in some of the matches, especially those last 2 games in the league. But without further ado, let us get on with the next match, which is away against Salford. I'm not expecting to have a very good result today, considering the experience that Salford City have at this level. They've been at this at the Vanarama North level for every season since I started this save. So they're really trying to get themselves back up into the next division after spending quite a bit of time down in the 6th tier. Here's the team we're going to go for today. Actually, I'm going to make one change because Shane Lovell is looking a little bit tired. So I'm going to bring George Burns on at centre back. And I'm also going to make a couple of other changes just to freshen up the bench a little bit, because I don't really like having players that are out with lacking match sharpness. One positive as well is I forgot to mention was Josh Green's actually back from injury, but he's not fully healthy just yet. So I'm hoping he'll be back for the next match, which is, I think is against FC United. If we have a quick look, no, it's not. It's away against Gainsborough. The next game is against FC United. So I'm hoping he's back and he'll be back among the goals as soon as possible. But without further ado, let us get into the match. We've got Reece Bills in goal with Goddard, Burns, McKenzie and Gregory as the back four. Gregory back from suspension. Dobie and Harris in the midfield with Sam Joel and Mumbungo on the wings, with James Difford and Matt J playing up front. And on the bench we've got Colquhoun. I'm going to switch around a couple of players just to make it a little bit more realistic in terms of how the bench should line up. I could bring on Josh Green actually. I know he's only on 85% conditioning, but I think it would be nice to bring him on. Although, I think I'm going to go for Liam Tomzett, I think, because we need another midfielder just in case Adrian Morford has to go on that wing. But, without further ado, let us now get on with this game. Again, as I mentioned before, I'm not expecting too much out of this match. 2 players are lacking match sharpness, and I focus on defensive positioning on the pre-match tactics. So, fingers crossed we can just get a draw out of this. That's the major thing that I want to happen. As we now get into the game, unfortunately Alfie Davidson is out suspended from what I recall. That's the reason why he isn't playing today. That's why Luke Dobie is playing alongside Harris. In terms of the Salford City team, is there any players I recognise? Vittori I do recognise. I think he's the Libyan player that got a trial at Manchester United. And is that Matthew Briggs, the former Fulham player, used to play in the Premier League. So they've got a bit of experience in that back four, and then we've got these two strikers, Barnes and Beasley, who have been in scintillating form for Salford City. If you had a quick check of the stats before the when I looked at the league tables, but those two are definitely going to be ones to watch. They may be it's B&B pretty much, bed and breakfast up front, to be honest. Anyways, let's get into the match. Let's give our team a little bit of a team talk here to give them a morale boost. Fortunately, that hasn't worked out too well at the moment. Let's give the positional team talks. It seems to have done a little bit better for the goalkeeper and the right back and centre back, and then the midfield looks pretty happy as well. Let's get on with this game. I've been rambling on a bit too much, as we now kick off from right to left with Mackenzie now on the ball. Burns out to Goddard, and it's probably going to be the end of the highlight as soon as Goddard hoofs it up forward. But no, there isn't a hoof up. That's the end of the highlight straight away. Although we've got a straight or immediate highlight here for Salford City, who have got passed back to the goalkeeper Montgomery, who plays it up towards Barnes, who knocks it down to Richards. Finney now plays a ball up towards Barnes. He's got a chance to take a shot, but he has wasted it, and that has gone down as a clear-cut chance inside the first 6 minutes of the match. Okay, we've got the ball in the midfield here with Harris. Munga back up to Jay, who might pick out different. He has done. He might take a shot here. He has done, and he's scored. We have gone 1-0 up away at Salford City. James Difford with his 7th goal of the season. He scored in the last game, which means he's on a little bit of form, which is fantastic, especially with the fact that Matt Jay has not been in great form since he's returned from injury, and the fact that we haven't had Justin May on that wing to help us out for providing assists and extra firepower up front. Okay, here is the highlight. Jay with a ball to Difford, who then beats the Salford defender a bit too easy there and hits it past Montgomery. I think Montgomery might have got a bit of a touch on that as it went into the back of the net, but he wasn't able to divert it past the post, and that has resulted in us going 1-0 up. Okay, we've got a free kick inside our half here from Salford. Here's Platt in the midfield to Finney. This might be the chance for Salford to get back into the game, but Burns has managed to win it off Barnes there. Here's Jay, who's run away from Platt. Here's Difford to Doby. Back to Difford. Joel on this right hand side, but it's won back by Briggs, and here's Beasley. Mackenzie though in with a tackle, and it's now back in the Salford half with Bishop, the centre back, I think, for Salford. He puts the ball back to the goalkeeper, who will hoof it up forward, but I thought Joel was able to win that, but Beasley's managed to win it, knock it down towards Barnes, and he's wasted another good that's a good chance again for Salford. That's 2 clear-cut chances that they've had in the 2 highlights that they've managed to obtain in this game, and that's 2 wasteful opportunities that they've had so far as we come up towards half-time. It is now half-time. We are still 1-0 up here, which is quite surprising considering the fact that Salford have had those two clear-cut chances. I'm going to go for that and see if that will motivate the players. It looks like they are all very happy, which is fantastic. I'm going to go for that to see if we can get everybody fully green, which is amazing. We might make a change in a minute, but I also might change the mentality as the second half progresses. Let's hope that Salford don't get any more clear-cut chances, because I think they might convert one of them eventually. They haven't had a shot on target yet in this game, so it's really, in terms of the stats, it's not been the greatest of matches in terms of chances, but we took one of our the one chance we did have on target, and it's resulted in a goal. Okay, a throw in on this right hand side for Salford, and it's now resulted in a goal. I knew it was coming. Brandon Barnes with his 8th goal of the season equalises for Salford City, and it's now 1-1. It was a simple throw in from El Frattori, who found Finney. Finney takes a touch and then just plays it through to Barnes. Suspicion of offside, I think, a little bit there, but doesn't look like it was given, and that has resulted in a goal for Salford. We might need to make a change in a minute to try and address any potential second goal that Salford might obtain later on. We're actually going to do that now, because Luke Doby looks like he's suffering a little bit. I'm going to bring on Adrian Morford, I think, and is also going to take off the yellow card as well that Luke Doby's on. He has a tendency to possibly might get sent off later on in the match, and I don't really want that happening, especially in the fact that we want to try and get a point out of this game at least. Okay, a free kick from Salford. I was about to make a change there, but Taylor Mackenzie has given away a penalty, and it looks like he's going to be sent off as well, which is not good. Yep, he is off. That is a second bookable offence, and Taylor Mackenzie has been sent off, which means we're going to have to make some changes in terms of the tactics here, as Salford will now take the penalty, but we're first going to go to the tactics screen I don't know really what to do here because we've just this one mistake, and that's really going to cost us here today. I'm going to have to take off Mbunga, I think, because he's on a yellow card and he's not looking great in terms of his match sharpness. So we're going to bring on Kai Smith at centre back here, and hopefully Reece Bills can pull a rabbit out of the hat and manage to save the penalty. But I'm not looking too hopeful right now. Let's see if we can get some motivation into Kai Smith. Looks like that's gone well. But anyways, we're going to now have the penalty taken here. Number 11 steps up for Salford. I don't know who that is. I should remember from the team news, but it is Britton that steps up for Salford. But Bills has managed to save it. He's pulled that rabbit out the hat, and it's 1-1 still. We've still got 15 minutes to hold on, though, if we're going to salvage a draw out of this match. Callum Harris has now looked like he's picked up an injury, but he seems to be okay at the moment. It doesn't look like there's any plaster or anything like that that's popped up on his player icon. But we've got a free kick on our side. Ball in towards the mixer, but Montgomery was there, asserting himself in goal, and Salford will now clear away up towards Barnes. But it's knocked down towards Stevenson. Here's Britt on this right-hand side. Might want to make up for his penalty miss, but he's been the cross was poor, and Bills was there to clean it up right there. And it was very commanding as well, like Montgomery. Jay knocks it down to Harris, but he's now lost out to the Salford number 17. I didn't see what his name was right there. El Fittori on this right-hand side up to Britton. Gregory's now fouled Britton. This is going to be another red card here, because Gregory's just been sent off in a couple of games ago, but he's only picked up a yellow, which is alright. But now they've got a free kick on the edge of the box, in towards the mixer, but Burns clears away. Kasimba back to Cameron, to the Graka. I don't know. I think that's I don't know if he's Italian or not, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm rambling on a bit too much here. Britton ball in towards Barnes, and it's 2-1 Salford. I knew it was going to happen at some point. Brandon Barnes with his second goal of the game and his 9th of the season. Salford are now 2-1 up after being behind earlier on in the match. Britton now with a little nice drilled cross into the box, and Barnes is there to finish past Bills, and it's now 2-1 with just 10 minutes to go. Really, really frustrating that that's happened, especially the fact that the team has played really, really well up to this point. Up until the point where we conceded the penalty, the team's been playing pretty well, and I think we're going to have to just go for it as we've got less than 10 minutes to go. We need to try something here, because it's better to try and snatch a smash and grab late equaliser than it is just to sit back and not leak any more goals. But it's probably going to result in us conceding again, but let's see what happens here. Briggs has won the ball off Difford, and Difford's now fouled Briggs, and he's now going to be sent off here. We're going to be finishing the game with 9 men with 4 minutes remaining. This is not good. The fact that it's a striker, though, is the only saving grace. The fact that we don't have another defender having to come off, is the fact that we've just used up all 3 of our substitutes. So Lawrence is now going to have to play up front on his own, as we've now got 9 men on the pitch at the moment. Could easily be 8 as it stands, as Gunnar looks like he's going to go into the book here with 2 minutes to go. We're deep into stoppage time now. It looks like Salford are going to come away with a 2-1 victory, although we have a corner into the box, and Montgomery is right there to claim it, and it looks like that's going to be the end of the game, as Montgomery will probably clear it away, and there it is. The referee blows a full time. A 2-1 defeat against Salford, despite only having 9 men for the last 5 minutes of the game. I'm going to say that and see if that makes any difference. A couple of players look boosted, but unfortunately those 2 players are going to be might have to be disciplined for those 2 sending off, but we'll have to wait and see on that from what I decide. There, we're going to have to worry about team selection in the next match, which will be interesting. It also is interesting we haven't dropped out of the playoffs, because it looks like FC United could only draw against Braintree. Gainsborough did win, though, and that's why they're only 1 point back, and now it's a real dogfight between ourselves, Gainsborough, FC United, Boreham Wood, all fighting for the last couple of playoff spots. I'm sure Kidderminster and Kettering might end up fighting as well as we progress on later into the season. Oh, and that's not good. Callum Harris is out with a bruised thigh for 2 to 3 days, so that means I think he's out of the next game against Gainsborough, but I might be wrong. Oh no, he will be back for the Gainsborough game, because it's a week away, so Not a big injury, but it's not always not nice to have injuries on our plate right now. But fortunately, he should be back for the next game. So speaking of next games, in terms of what we should do next, I am tempted to do Alfreton at home because I think we might have a couple of matches that come thick and fast as we progress in the season. We could also do Boxing Day against Darlington, but you guys have seen Darlington quite a few times in this save already. Opening day of the season, of course, and also in the FA Cup last season. So we'll have to make a decision as to who's going to be, what team's going to be picked here. Maybe some FA Trophy matches might end up juggling up the fixture schedule a little bit. So I'm hoping we might actually get a good tie in that. I might do that, or I'll probably do the Alfreton game, because you guys have also seen a lot of away games. I kind of want to do a home game as a next live com, and the next one probably after Alfreton would be Boreham Wood on the 2nd of January. So depending on what happens in terms of the FA Trophy, I will decide what to do next in terms of the next live com. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Again, apologies for the delay on the videos, but I'm hoping to now speed up. Fingers crossed if the recording software still works. And if you did enjoy this video though, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next episode, which will be some game around here. I haven't decided yet what yet, but that's just dependent on what happens in the FA Trophy. So until then, see you later.